Blue Jays GM Ross Atkins spoke to the media today for the first time since the monumental collapse against the Seattle Mariners, and he dropped some hints on what we might come to expect in the offseason. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. What's up, Jays fans? I'm your host, Peter Briones, alongside Nick Goss. Nick has been putting work in on this channel, and it's just been great to see. I mean, I feel I feel like this guy's taking some strides, man. He's taken Blue Jays Digest to a place where it needs to be, and I'm just along for the ride, Nick. So before we get started, I just want a quick shout out to the Seattle Mariners thrashing the Houston Astros 6-3 right now, and it's just I don't know. They've been playing great baseball.
Yeah, they're crazy. They're better than I thought they were gonna be. I didn't give them enough respect. I called the sweep, and people in the comments of the prediction video and the other two videos let me have it a little bit. So I'll man up to it. No, yeah. Shout out to the Mariners. I'm sure we'll be talking about them some more the off season. Going into the World Series, depending how they do. But yeah, shout out to them. They're a fun team.
Fun team to watch and easy to root for, despite what happened to our Blue Jays. But Ross Atkins, he spoke to the media today. A lot of stuff was said, a lot of stuff went down in the past couple days that I saw firsthand. I witnessed it, and I'll tell you, Nick, the atmosphere in the stadium, it was went from the most electric atmosphere I've ever seen to the worst atmosphere within the span of 30 minutes.
Yeah. From home watching it seemed loud during especially the second Teoscar home run. It seemed just buzzing, and then it started to fall, and I had my reaction video up, which people could see my reaction right away. I'm sure yours wasn't happy either, but yeah, it was. I don't know. I don't even know what to think. I still don't know what to think days later. But Ross Atkins had some corporate words to say today.
Yeah, he's a politician at heart, and he was quoted saying uh, the emotions were difficult, and that was one of the main quotes that stood out. I'm not exactly sure what that means. I don't know if you want to elaborate, Nick, but
Yeah, you can see here. Yeah, the emotions were difficult. That was a disappointing outcome for us. I mean, yeah, obviously it
no
was
kidding.
a difficult outcome. Now I don't know what the question he was asked was, so it was probably just something normal, like how was the season, blah blah. But yeah, it was definitely, to say the least, it was an emotional roller coaster, and I don't know. I was saying this earlier. I don't know what we do from here for the time being. It's just I don't know. It was a mess, but yeah, regarding him saying that, obviously, like yeah, it was an emotional mess, and I mean, what else is he gonna say though? I'm sure the question was framed for him to basically just have
well,
that answer.
well, I'll tell you what, Nick. I'd rather him talk less about the stadium renovations
Hmm.
2 days or 3 days after an embarrassing collapse against the Seattle Mariners and talk about what's to come for this team and give an honest, brutal assessment as to what this team needs because you and I we spoke a lot we speak a lot about this team
Yeah.
and off camera we talk about this team 24/7 and we'd like to see a few different things and we'll get into that as the off season rolls around or rolls along, I should say. But I'd like him to be more honest and blunt about what this team needs going forward.
Yeah. Something needs to change, whether that's a a monumental change or just some small changes. I'm not 100% sure yet. I lean towards the more significant changes, but yeah, I was hoping to get more out of the interview. But there's a few more things to get into. But yeah, I don't know. It was weird. I agree. I don't care about the Rogers Center renovations right now at all after that loss. It doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah, and Ross Atkins, he spoke a little bit about John Schneider here.
Yeah.
He said he was confident in John Schneider, and I'm right there with him. I don't think this team makes the playoffs without him. I think he really turned them around after Charlie Montoyo did his best to sink them into the ground. And John Schneider, I mean, he did a great job when he took over for Charlie. And I want to see him back next year, and I want to see what he could do in a full season with the Jays.
Yeah, I'm I was quoted saying in the original reaction video, I think he's gonna be fired. That was more of a that was a bit of a knee jerk reaction by me, in the time. But one thing I did find interesting, I'll pop it up again here. Like you said, very confident in the job he's done. But he did say more time to work. He needs more time to work through the process, and I mean that's enough to cause some speculation because he could have easily just said he's gonna be back. I thought honestly going into this interview, I thought that's what he was gonna say. Like, I thought he was gonna say that same thing, but I thought he was gonna say like we're confident in having him back, whatever. But he did mention that point that they need more time. So I don't know. I'm fine bringing him back. But if there's another candidate that pops up, I'm not opposed to a change. But Chapman was quoted also saying he really wants Schneider back. So I don't know.
I think it's the right move to bring him back. You don't want the players to have a military sergeant as a manager. You want them to have fun, and they like one another. They have fun playing baseball, and that's what it is. At the end of the day, it's just baseball, and we're all along for the ride. We all want to see them do well, but they got to have fun. That's the number one thing when you're playing a sport. You got to have a good
Yeah.
time, and these guys do that better than anybody. And no one no one brings that quite together as well as John Schneider. So I want to see him back with the team. One guy that should be worried is Ross Atkins because
Huh.
he didn't do nearly enough to make this team better at the trade deadline.
Yeah. We're gonna have lots of videos on that. What's to come, and especially the bullpen as well. I touched on it yesterday, but there's a lot more to get into than what I touched in the video yesterday. But yeah, he realistically, I don't think they do anything. Definitely not before this year. I think this offseason is going to say a lot. And he also said in the interview, I don't have the screenshot of it, but he did say that he doesn't see any the ground like breaking up the core. I'm assuming the core being Vladdy, Bichette, I guess those two mainly. He didn't say that he wants to really do that. So again, this offseason will really depend. And realistically, if he was going to get fired, I think it might be next season, next offseason, depending on what happens this year. It's a big question mark for him. And I think John Snyder's job is safe. I think you're right. The only way it isn't is maybe if some manager pops up that they fall in love with. But I think you got to ride it out for at least one more year. But the question mark then is how long do you extend him for? Because then we have a Montoyo situation where we extend him for however many years, fire him the first year of the contract. So they got to be careful with that. But yeah, it's we can have a whole video dedicated to the John Snyder talks. I'm sure we will.
Mhm. And I do think they extend him for maybe two
Too, yeah.
seasons. They see how it plays out, and I think you need to at this point. You got to give him a full season because whatever results that he brought back in those 3 months with the team, they were very positive, and I liked the way he had them playing. It's not his fault that management didn't give him a swing and miss reliever at the deadline. It's
Yeah,
not his fault that his high leverage relievers can't strike guys out. Yes, he did make a mistake by pulling Kevin Gosman in that game, but at the end of the day, like your players got to be able to perform. There's only your manager can win you a couple games a season, but apart from that, he's not out there playing and he's not out there pitching either.
yeah, yeah. I agree with you for the most part. It was just that whole game. Game two was just a mess. Like he should have left Gosman in hindsight, yes, but it's an 8-1 lead. And Tim Mayes had a good year, so like you just assume. I promise you, John Snyder didn't think that would be a decision that he even got second guessed. Because even let's say we won 8-6, or that single dropped, but didn't dive, and we won 8-7. I don't know how many people are. We're not even talking about the Tim Mayes decision right now. So hindsight's whatever, but I think he gets extended for 2 years as well. But we're gonna have another video, I think, breaking the whole Schneider thing down soon.
There's a ton of things that we would like to see in the off season, but the number one priority is getting George Springer healthy, having him play 140 games plus. Now, it was announced he has a concussion and he'll be cleared to travel with the team soon, so it shouldn't be anything major. Knock on wood.
Yep. It that's good. That was the I mean realistically that was the only thing I was hoping to get out of this press conference at this point, just an injury update. And Shouldn't be anything serious, and hopefully doesn't linger. I am more, I guess, on the edge side of I want him to get fully healthy, like get a surgery, get something, so he's not lingering all the time because he's had a rough start to his Jays career in the injury sense. Hitting wise, it's been great, fielding whatever, but it's been a rough go for for Jordan or for George. Jeez.
The reason that he's been injured so much has to be attributed to the fact of how hard he plays, and he's a warrior out there. He puts his body on the line for the team, and it was just too bad that he got hit in the hand in that game one, and he wasn't able to be 100% George Springer in game two, and I think that's a main reason as to why we're here making potential off-season GM reaction videos as opposed to ALDS preview video.
Kills me to say that. Mariners are playing while we're making a video about a Ross Atkins season-ending press conference, but man, is what it is. I'm gonna enjoy baseball stress free for the rest of the playoffs. But yeah, the George Springer. That was basically the last thing that Ross said of importance was the George Springer injury update. So that's kind of good. I mean, he's fine. I want to see him. Honestly, though, once he got hit in the hand, I don't know how he would have even played in Game 3 because he was 0 for 3 with 3 Ks or 0 for 4, whatever. He was.
4.
I would have maybe liked to see Jackie Bradley in at that point, but either way, I don't know.
I say we stop talking about the game because it's just going to make us frustrated, and let's just look ahead
Yep.
to the off season. And I think a major way that we could keep George in the lineup for more games than he isn't in the lineup is to move him to one of the corner outfield positions.
Yeah.
And that'll have to come with a center fielder coming our way, or us signing a center fielder, and there are a few on the free agent market. One notable guy that we do like a lot, and we'll touch on that in a
Yes.
few
Let's
videos.
see.
Not
Maybe
yet.
maybe
Not
the
yet.
audience will be able to guess. Leave your
Mhm.
comments on who you think that center fielder is, and if you do guess it, maybe we'll put the comment up. Another key for next season, Jordan Romano. He had some things to say in a interview there. I don't know. I think it was post game or it was some point. He was quoted saying that see it up here, I just feel like I let everyone down after a really long, fun season. I feel like I needed to be that guy. I needed to end the game there, and I could have. It didn't happen, so the feeling is just despair. Now, I know how you feel about this. It's not Jordan's fault, and that's a pretty strong quote to put the whole blame on him. And before we do break it down more, we'll show you guys the video of the full 40-second clip here, so you guys know in full what he said.
Kind of feels like you let everyone down. Yeah, it's tough, you know. I felt like I went out there, pitched my game, and I just got beat. Wasn't good enough. And you know, me trying, being that guy all year, it was my job to, kind of stop the bleeding there, and I didn't do it. So it really does suck.
Jordan, I mean, the fact that you had such an incredible year, does that kind of ease the sting at all of this, or are you able to? Do you think that will come in time that you'll be able to look back on this year in a positive light?
Honestly, it doesn't do anything right now. You know what I mean? Season boils down to these games, and just didn't get the job done. So yeah, it sucks right now. A lot of good things happened this year, but yeah, it's a terrible feeling.
It's kind of a
So
I don't know if Jordan is to blame for that one. He's being very hard on himself, and that's what you want to see out of a competitor, out of an elite athlete. But he was forced into a tough position, coming in the eighth inning with no outs, bases loaded. It was a near impossible situation, just setting yourself up for failure.
yeah, asking him to record 6 outs. Bloop single as the bloop single heard around Canada. Really, that just dropped. I don't know. He can't blame himself. If anything, blame the others in the bullpen. Obviously, he takes some credit because he gave up the 1 run in the ninth. But I mean, he was deep into his pitch count, and I don't know. The whole game was a mess. I don't even want to talk about it. I don't want to blame Romano. I just wanted to throw that out there. That in case you guys didn't see the interview, he'll have another great season next year, I'm sure. But he was not feeling too happy about his own personal performance, which I don't know if that's really. He doesn't need to feel that bad.
Let's hope he gets some help around him in that bullpen for next season, because it was a very tough spot to be put in. And if the Jays did somehow end up winning that game, he threw 35 plus pitches and may not have been available the next day. So
Yeah.
who knows? Who knows what game three would have looked like? The truth is, we'll never know. And it might have been a good thing, honestly, considering how that game two unfolded. But before we sign off, just want to remind you we're on the road to 1K subscribers. So we didn't play it at the beginning of the video, and we usually don't play it in the second mention, but
I
it was
got
the
it up.
first mention, so we got to get it up now.
Yeah, graphic. It's working again at the end, but yeah, it's been good to have you back after the long, a few days break. You were enjoying the games, and lots more content coming soon. It's gonna be a interesting off season. Definitely a different vibe video this time compared to the last one together. We were hyped for the wild card, but everything happens for a reason, and hopefully this is we'll be looking back here next year and being grateful that it happened.
I don't know if you could say I enjoyed the games, but I was there and I enjoyed my time there. Let's put it that way. And I needed a couple days to recover, so that's why Nick shouldered the load. That's why he's the best, and you guys are the best for making it this far. So thank you so much for watching. Peace.